Greetings of peace. My name is Ram Hotep, coming back at you with another video. I'm doing this video on a very interesting topic, very quickly. Won't be too long. I'm going to do a video on the two matrices. And that's right, the two matrices. A lot of people, we use this term, the matrix, very loosely. We talk about being trapped in the matrix, and we look at the matrix as basically like a computer program that is implanted into the minds of the people to make people basically be programmed to operate and to carry on in a certain kind of way. But there's two matrices. There's two matrices. And those of us that are into the occult, we very much know that there is two matrices. You have the matrix of the illusionary world, which is the matrix that most of you know about. The Matrix that they kind of sort of spoke about in the Matrix movie. And then you have the second Matrix, which is the original Matrix, which is the real Matrix, which is the Earth Matrix. The Earth Matrix. Now, when you research the term Matrix, if you look it up, it basically means mother. Matrix means mother. So when you start dealing with the Matrix, you're dealing with the feminine principle, or the mothering principle, or the nurturing principle. Now, let me go ahead and break down the first matrix and exactly how that operates. Now, the first matrix is the original matrix, and this is the matrix of the planet. This is the planetary grid. Those of you that don't know, the planet has chakras. It has certain points on the planet, what we call chakras, where more energy is housed at. Basically, a chakra is an energy center. So you have chakras on the planet, and on these different parts of the planet, this is where abundance of energy is located, on these different chakras of the planet. And these chakras extend out and create basically like longitude and latitude lines, which you know them as. And these longitude and latitude lines are basically form the matrix, or the Earth grid, based on these latitude and longitude lines. So you start talking about the matrix, you're dealing with energy. The first matrix, you're dealing with the energy that's available in various different parts of the planet, because the Earth has energy. Now, there's different types of energy. I mean, you have Kundalini, you have Chi, Shin, and all of that different stuff. But at the end of the day, the Earth has all of these different types of energy readily available to it. So the first matrix can be understood basically from understanding and studying the ancients. Now, the ancients, they built certain structures. They built certain monuments in certain geographical locations on the planet. And some of these structures that they built could not have been built in other parts of the planet. So when the ancients built structures on different parts of the planet, these structures were built to balance out the Earth matrix and to channel in energy from celestial forces and bring this energy down onto the planet Earth. So this is why these different structures were built, like the pyramids of Giza, the mounds, the pyramids of South America. All these different pyramids and structures and mounds were built based on the Earth matrix. So this is the original matrix, and the ancients knew how to tap into this Earth matrix to actually travel through the Earth, and they found portals in the Earth based on the Earth matrix, like the Bermuda Triangle, or what they call the Devil's Triangle. You have all these different points and portals on the Earth or whatever, and you can tap into these points and portals on the Earth, and you can go to various higher versions of the Earth, because the Earth has higher versions of it. Like, we're on the third dimensional Earth, but there's a fourth dimensional Earth, a fifth dimensional Earth. So you got different Earths. And you got an Earth that still has the Atlanteans reigning. You have an Earth that still has the Egyptians reigning. So you have different versions of the Earth, and all this ties into the Earth matrix when you learn how to tap into the different energy grids, which I said is based on the longitude and latitude lines. And this is how you tap into this energy. Now, when you go to certain pyramids and you visit certain ancient structures, there's things that you can do in those geographical locations that you can't do in other locations. Like, say for instance, you go to Tibet and meditate. If you go to Tibet and meditate, you're going to experience things in Tibet when you're meditating there, things that you would have never have experienced if you were, say, in Oklahoma. So just certain things you just can't do because the earth has different portals and energy centers and energy locations that are located on the earth, and it's based on the earth matrix. All of this is based on the earth matrix, or what's called the planetary matrix. And that's why the matrix is basically called the mother, because we talk about Mother Earth. So this is where they got the original matrix from. So when you start talking about the artificial matrix, basically what they did with the artificial matrix was this: they patterned the artificial matrix after the original matrix. So for instance, one aspect of the artificial matrix is time. Now we know time basically measures space, distance. Time measures space and distance. So when you look at like the latitude lines and the longitude lines, these are the original pockets of time. But then we have now this man-made time where we have a clock and we have seconds, minutes, hours, days, and things of this nature. And what this did was this threw off this man-made time that's based on a clock. Basically, it threw off the original matrix, and it threw off our connection to the planet in the original matrix, and connected us to this artificial matrix, which is based on this matrix. The artificial matrix that most of you know of is based on time. Money, that's why they say money and time are synonymous, and they say time is money, because time is money, because money is linked into time, because you go to work every day, or a lot of people, and you work based on an hourly wage. So you say, I go to work and I make $20 an hour. So you are tied into time. Your money and your whole existence is based on time, because you have to go to work for a certain amount of time. It takes a certain amount of time to drive home to pick up your children. It takes a certain amount of time to cook your food. So time becomes your zero time reference versus being tied into the planet and tied into nature and tied into the planetary grid and tied into the energy of the planetary grid. See, they took us away from that and put us and hooked us onto this artificial matrix. Time, money, and things of this nature, linear type of stuff. And what this does is, and I'm going to do another video to help you to understand, is this basically makes you a slave to the exterior world, which is really an illusion. So they needed time. See, time is the root of the spell of the matrix, of this spell that they have you up under. It's rooted in time. So all of this stuff is an illusion, but it's real to you because of time. You know why? Because when somebody dies, supposedly die, here in the third dimensional matrix, or the artificially intelligent matrix, or the artificial intelligence matrix, when someone dies here, you cry, because to you that's time expiring. That's time expiring. So to you, you're watching time. When somebody dies, then to you that's enforces the spell that time is real because this person died. Whereas if you were dealing with the fourth dimensional matrix or the planetary matrix, you would know that that person didn't die. That person didn't die. And if you know anything about quantum physics and things of that nature, you'll know that time is everything that's happening, is like past, present, and future is always happening, like all the time. So all of this is an illusion. And this may be hard for people to understand because, again, you're looking at the exterior world. You're looking at the exterior world and you're trapped into the artificial matrix. But time is very much an illusion. And they enforce the spell of the matrix based on, again, I can't say it enough, time. So the way to break out of that is to tap into the original matrix, which is the planetary matrix. And the planetary matrix is governed by the planets. That's right, the planets. You see, if you want to really measure time and you really want to deal with time, for instance, months, hours, minutes, and seconds don't mean anything. See, they got you caught up on minutes and seconds, and that's how they got people messed up. Really, it's all about hours and months, because you can measure hours by the planets. You can measure months by the planets. So time to us is based on the movements of the stars. That's what the astrologers did, and that's what the ancients did. They watched the stars, and this is why they built all of their structures around the stars, because when you do that, you're tapping into a higher version of time. A higher version of time. And this time is more accurate, so you will live longer. This is why the ancients lived to be 3 and 4 and 500, some 1,000 years old. I mean, there's people even now that are still tying and tapping into the planetary matrix that are still living to be 300 and 400 years old in China, but they're not telling you about this stuff. Those people that are here in America and in Europe, you know nothing of this. So yeah, they're dealing with a whole nother reference. It's all about your zero time reference. That's what it comes down to. And your zero time reference, if you're tapping into nature, should be through astrology. So you watch the stars to know when to go fishing, to know when to go navigate certain ships. Like when they would navigate the ships, they would watch the stars to know, okay, it's time to go do this and do that. So you would know when certain drifts and certain air currents will be taking place, always based on the stars and based on the movements of the planets. So this is what astrology really is all about. It's about keeping track of true time, not these seconds and these minutes and looking at a clock and digits. That's keeping you locked into the artificial matrix. See, when you get into the planetary matrix, you don't have to go work on the hour for food by the hour, because you will learn how to basically plant your crops based on time. You see, you can plant based on the planets and time, real time. So when you plant seeds based on the moon at being at a certain point, and the moon is your measuring rod or your measuring stick to know when harvest is going to come, and all of these different things is tied into the moon. You see, so we don't know about nature anymore because we are caught up in the illusionary matrix, and we're caught up in artificial time. And what's going to happen is that those of you that stay connected to this third dimensional artificial matrix, you will be turned into a robot. And I'm going to start doing videos on this really soon. But you will be turned into a robot. I'm not going to spill the beans on exactly what I'll be talking about on these new videos about robots. But I will say this. If you look at the way computers operate, they operate off of artificial time. Artificial systems of keeping time. This is how computer digits. This is the matrix is all about numbers, digits. So they're caught up into that. But when you deal with the original matrix, it's all about planetary movements and degrees. See, not digits, but degrees. So not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is seconds, but you're dealing with degrees, meaning that, okay, the sun just moved 1 degree. Okay, the sun just moved 2 degrees. And their time is not linked into that, because their astrology is not even correct. These beings that gave you this artificial version of astrology, which you call Western astrology, it's not the real version of astrology. And they knew this. They kept the real thing for themselves and to themselves. And they know that this stuff is true because they know that the 13 signs of astrology that I'm teaching, nobody has challenged me on it. And nobody will challenge me on it because they know that it's true and it's accurate. And the astronomers even back it up, but then they give you this watered down version of astrology, so then you can't even deal in watching the planets and the planetary motions correctly, even if you are dealing with Western astrology, because all of the ephemeris and all the different books that they have to chart the planets are incorrect. And they put this stuff on the market to keep you trapped into the illusionary matrix of time, Western astrology, fake planets and placements and all of these different things, which really at the end of the day means nothing. So if you really want to basically break free from the control grid, you have to learn how to break free from time. And the way to break free from time is to begin to honor nature again and to live in tune with nature. And the first way to begin to live in tune with nature is by tapping into the planetary motions of the stars and the planets and things of this nature, because the ancients built their whole civilization on these stars and these planets. And this is why they live so long, because say, for instance, if you're living based off of the Sirius star constellation versus living based on some seconds, you're going to live longer, because the Sirius star constellation, you know what I'm saying, it takes a long time for it to rise, and it's a further out reference of time or whatever, and it takes more time for it to move around in certain motions or whatever, versus the seconds on the clock will burn out your flesh a lot faster and quicker, because you're looking at the seconds and you're watching people die. So to you, the exterior world, I don't know if this is making any sense to you, but when you watch the exterior world, basically what you're doing is you're making the exterior world your zero time reference, versus if you were looking at the stars as Sirius and watching that's going to give you a further out time reference, whereas you will live longer and become more of an immortal, because you're looking and you're living from the exterior world. I mean, you're living from the celestial world, which is a zero time reference that's longer. Like years in Sirius are longer than years here. You know what I'm saying? Because the way the sun and all that revolves around the planets on Sirius, it takes longer. So this is why when they say in the Bible, a day to the Lord is 1,000 years, because that means that this God that they speak of, if a day to him was 1,000 years, that means his time reference was different. His time reference was totally different. It means it was a lot faster. I mean, he was vibrating much faster. So he could do more in less time to us. So he had a different time reference. He had a different time reference. So this means if a day to him was 1,000 years, then this means 10 days to him was 10,000 years. So this means he's on a different time zone. He's in a different time reference. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to see. So when you start tying yourself into different star constellations and identifying with that, you're going to basically extend your life. You're going to begin to look at things on a different level, and you'll get what's called an overstanding versus an understanding. And this is what you must achieve if you want to break free from the control grid of this planetary matrix. I'm sorry, this artificial matrix, because all of this is artificial time. The seconds, this is why they adjust the time so much. Like here in the matrix, they adjust the time so much because, like, if you notice, 1 year the clocks go back on this date, then the next year they push it back further, and the clocks keep going back on different dates because they're trying to line up time with nature. They're out of time with nature. They're out of sync with nature. Excuse me. They're out of sync with nature. So to understand and to break free from the control of the matrix, you have to break free from the control of their false illusionary time, which is seconds and minutes, and begin to look at the planets, the moon for your months. You see, you got to begin to look at the moon for your months. Begin to look at the sun and its traveling on a daily basis for your hours. See, hours is based on when you look up the term hours, it goes back to the term Horus, like horoscope. You see, you don't understand minutes and hours and things like that because you don't understand the degrees and how the constellations move on the horizon based on the horoscope. You see, because when you look at that, time is different. Time is different. I think it's like for every degree that the horoscope moves, when you deal with the astrological chart, every degree is equal to like 4 minutes. So there is no minutes and seconds and stuff like that. Basically is where I'm getting at. You would deal with hours, which is Horus. Hours, Horus, horoscope, because everything will be based on hours. And you might not understand all of this because you don't understand astrology, but soon you will, because these are the things and the sciences that you will have to learn for those of you that want to make the shift. You have to get in tune with nature, get in tune with the planets, get in tune with the stars, get in tune with the Earth matrix, being in certain locations, in certain spots, and knowing where to be, so that when the new energy hits the planet, you'll be in the right location. There's a certain location that everybody must be based on your vibration of who you are as a being. So if you're feeling the need to move and leave, I say this all the time. There's probably a reason for that, because you're in the wrong location. You're not going to make your ascension in that location. You see, the ancients would go to certain spots on this planet to even die. They didn't even want to die in certain locations. They wanted to even die in certain spots because they knew if they died in that spot, they would be able to ascend to a higher level. They would be able to raise their energy up to a higher level and will be able to ascend because they may have been lighter in that spot. If you notice, if you go to spots on the equator, you lose weight. You're 5 pounds lighter. This shows you that this physical world is an illusion. It should show you that. If you lose weight just from going to a different location, when I say lose weight, I'm not talking about because of a diet. I'm saying if you go to a certain spots on this planet, and those of you that travel know this, you'll lose a certain amount of pounds. Like you'll be 5 pounds lighter when you're at places below the equator versus places above the equator, you're 5 pounds heavier, which shows you that that's dealing with density, which is showing you basically that when you go to different spots on this planet, it's less dense. And those are where your portals are. And this is how you tap into the higher dimensions. And that's real time. See, real time is not linear. Real time is past, present, future happening all together at once. So when somebody dies and all of this stuff, and we look at his time expiring, they didn't die. See, they only died in your reality. But as far as existence, and I'm going to do a video on existence versus reality, they didn't die. They still exist. Meaning that you can still travel and see them, and they're still existing in another realm, in another dimension. So it's time to break free. Hope to make this understandable about the two matrices. You want to definitely tap into the planetary matrix, which is the original matrix, and tap into the astrological signs and tap into the stars, the original astrological signs and stars. For those of you that have never even been familiar with the new 13 sign astrology, you need to start off by getting your natal reading, Stop using the watered down version of astrology that the Matrix gave you to keep the real truth away from you. But they're slowly, you know, they're still slowly putting it on television. They talk about the 13th sign on CNN and stuff like that. So I give them props on that. They're not keeping it a secret anymore. Now it's just up to us astrologers and the people that know to inform the people and stop dealing with the Western version of astrology so that we can tap into real time. See, that's why I'm putting this message out. It's about real time. And you talk about the shift and all of these different things, all based on measuring time correctly. See, this is how you would know when to do a thing. If you can't measure time correctly, you can't even do your rituals correctly. You can't even do, like, say, for instance, if you wanted to do a cult ritual, you can't even do that if you don't know where the moon is at a certain time, which element it's in. Is it in fire? Is it in water? Is it in earth? Is it in air? See, if you're dealing with Western astrology, you really don't know which element the moon's in because you don't even know where the moon is in. You don't know what sign it's in. So these are the things that if you want to deal with real time and not artificial time, these are the things that you must deal with. The 13 versus the 12 signs of the zodiac. So I hope this helped. For more enlightening information, visit my website, 13signsastrology.com, and I'll leave you in peace.